Muy buenas tardes a todos y a todas. Saluditos a los extraterrestres macho y a los extraterrestres hembra. Saluditos. Bienvenidos al capítulo número 3 de HELLBLADE Senua's Sacrifice. Vamos a intentar continuar ayudando a esta tal. O eso nos quieren hacer creer. Yo sigo pensando que a lo mejor tiene un don para escuchar a los muertos o algo así. Pero bueno. Reportaje de HELLBLADE. Vamos a seleccionar esto. El siguiente orden contiene escenas del juego.
Stormy seas and lost souls.
How is it?
She's dreamt of this before.
It's coming. Is it?
They say dreams are visions of our memories, thoughts and fears, as seen by our inner eye. But what if each one of us is always dreaming, even when awake? And we only see what our inner eye creates for us. Is this what hell is? A world shaped by Senua's nightmares. Maybe that's why people fear seeing the world through our eyes.
Yes, she's scared.
Because if you believe that Senua's reality is twisted, you must accept that yours might be too.
HELLBLADE Senua's Sacrifice is a video game about Senua, a Celtic warrior on a vision quest into Viking territory. But what sets our hero Senua apart is that she suffers from severe psychotic mental illness.
He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching.
The original idea for HELLBLADE was to create a classic hero's journey, a journey of suffering, but one where the fantasy world is not another planet or alternate universe, but a world that is constructed in Senua's mind. But to do so would mean putting psychotic mental illness at the center of the experience, a subject that is still considered taboo, and a challenge that was both terrifying and exciting in equal measure. In HELLBLADE, the starting point was a newly discovered Celtic goddess called Senuna in Ashwell, Hertfordshire. When first discovered, her name was thought to be Senua, a name which I liked and kept. I wondered if Senua might have been a Celtic warrior like Boudica who stood up to the Romans. While the Romans had conquered all of Europe, there was a group of Celts up in the furthest reaches of the Roman Empire that could not be conquered, the Picts. And so the Romans built a wall, called Hadrian's Wall, that spans across Britain from sea to sea to keep the Pictish barbarians at bay. The Picts were known for their war paint, painted on with woad, and their matted hair clumped with lime. And so Senua would be a barbarian Pict in this image.
What's your name?
Senua,
I haven't seen you before.
I don't live home much.
Oh, Zeno's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait.
Orkney is off the coast of Scotland and was inhabited by the Picts, steeped in history and mystery, and so I made Orkney Senua's home and set the stage for a crisis. In the late 8th century, the first Vikings landed on the Orkney Islands. The population of the Picts crashed thereafter, replaced by the Norsemen of the 9th century. Were they wiped out? We don't know for sure, but it would seem likely given the reputation of the Vikings. The Northmen's brutality is legendary. High-ranking leaders and chieftains of the tribes they conquered were often offered as sacrifice to their gods. The most brutal of these sacrifices was known as the Blood Eagle. I imagine Senua as a young female warrior who returns home from exile to find her partner, Dillion, brutally sacrificed to a Norse god by these hellish warriors from a faraway land. I imagine the horror this moment and how it would have dragged her deep into mental torment. I came to learn that the Celts had a sophisticated and nuanced perspective on the nature of mental disorder. One term they used was Gelt. A Gelt is a man or woman who has been driven mad by a curse, battle trauma, or grief. The Gelt would take to a life in the woods in search of penance, punishment, and purgation. And so Senua became a Gelt, cursed by darkness, looking for redemption in the wilds. Another word the Celts used in one who utters the words of God. They tell of the mad sinner who flees battle into exile and takes on a beastly nature, growing feathers on his body. The character called Ruth in Hellblade is based on a little-known person called Findan, an 8th century Irish Celt who was captured and enslaved by the Vikings, but eventually escaped to Orkney where he became a monk.
I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Upon meeting Senua, it would be his stories that fuel her quest deep into their world of gods.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water will meet. Flames will play against the sky. The heavens and earth and all the world will be burned. All the gods will be dead. And the warriors of Valhalla and people everywhere. Senua, prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
So the stage was set for a new adventure, a journey into the Norse underworld called Hell, a vision quest fueled by madness and myth, a fantasy that was created by Senua's own mind, and one that we would experience through her eyes.
This is your mission. This is your quest. There is nothing else left.
To make a game about a warrior with psychotic mental illness as its central theme was fraught with danger. Mental illness such as psychosis is still taboo and rarely acknowledged in a century of cinema, never mind the new medium of games. Where it does feature, it often conflates psychosis and psychopathy associated with a lack of empathy. It is unfortunate that these two words sound so similar that they are used interchangeably in media. I must admit that I didn't have to look very far to discover my own ignorance of the subject. So we reached out to Paul Fletcher, psychiatrist and professor of health neuroscience at University of Cambridge.
Psychosis is a descriptive term, and it refers to having a loss of contact with objective reality. So it's characterized by two main sets of symptoms. One of them is hallucinations, where somebody experiences perceptions when there is no actual objective thing out there to perceive.
You're already dead. Who are you?
And the other is delusions, where somebody comes to very often bizarre, unpleasant, frightening beliefs when there's no good evidence in favour of them.
There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim. And the goddess Hela holds his soul there.
We reached out to Welcome, a biomedical research charity that spends billions on research and awareness programs aimed at improving health.
Mental health hasn't always been presented in the media in a way that is particularly helpful. It can be challenging to engage people with the subject matter, and there are a lot of preconceived ideas about mental health, and particularly schizophrenia and psychosis. So we hope our support allows the team to continue to collaborate with Paul Fletcher and with those who have experience of psychosis to create a game that provides a fresh perspective on the condition and allows audiences to engage with it in a way that just wouldn't be possible in any other medium.
What started out as a brief consultation convinced me that we were only scratching the surface of an immensely deep and interesting subject that could enrich and change the very nature of the game.
That's cool. Thanks so much for coming here.
Pleasure, thanks. It's really interesting for me. I'd love to be involved. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our understanding of psychosis is still very much a mystery, and ways of treating it are still primitive compared to physical illness. After all, it is easy to see the pain and suffering caused by physical diseases or physical trauma. It is not so easy to see the mental suffering and trauma of severe mental illness. But what if we could find a way to see it? Games are capable of drawing you in for hours on end, playing the role of a character who is different from you, experiencing their perspective, and actively involving you in a world that functions with a different set of rules. If we were to represent Senua's psychosis, we would have to simulate voice hearing, a common attribute. But how can we simulate something we have no first-hand experience of? Professor Charles Fernyhough, a leading expert in voice hearing from Durham University, offered his help.
Hearing voices is an experience that is usually associated with severe mental illness, and crucially we know that hearing voices is a part of ordinary life for many people who don't meet the criteria for mental illness.
Yeah. Oh, that's not him in real life.
We know voices vary according to where they appear in space. Voices can appear far away in the distance, they can appear right there in your ear, they can seem to be coming from inside your head.
Based on the information Professor Fernyhough provided, I put together a sound brief and invited some actors to the studio. We recorded the actors using a binaural microphone, which records the 3D spatial position of sound, replicating the way sound is heard by human ears. It gives you an incredible sense that the person you are listening to is right there beside you.
Can't see how she's going.
Rachel Waddingham from the Voice Collective came to our studio with two young voice hearers to speak to our team. We talked at length about their experiences, and they listened to our tests, giving us feedback on how we could improve on it.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
It's very hard to represent what this experience is like, partly because it's such a personal, intense, emotional experience. It's testament to how Ninja Theory have been listening to what the researchers are saying, but also, crucially, listening to the experts by experience. What they've come up with is so compelling. It's by far the best representation I've heard of what these experiences are like.
Other common attributes of psychosis are visions and flashbacks. We met with Recovery College East, who work with and care for people recovering from severe mental disorders. A group of service users gave us their first-hand account of what they experience.
Sometimes when the visions or what we're seeing is too much, it becomes more difficult until eventually we perhaps don't see anything.
The people we spoke to, the stories they told, were fascinating, harrowing and mind-boggling. The reality of what people experienced was vivid, far exceeding what I could possibly have imagined. We went away itching to represent some of these visions and flashbacks in the game.
As we all know, my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Now I see deep in me insanity does unfold. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. As we all know, my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Feel like this, read like this, I just wanna live that song. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
To refine our work, we continue to hold meetings with Recovery College East over the course of a year and a half, showing them what we had achieved so far and refining the in-game representations based on their feedback. With their help, flashbacks, visions and changes in perception were woven into the story and gameplay of Senua.
The students that are involved in this project are incredibly excited about being involved. They have described the experience as being important because it values their lived experience and shows that despite what we have been through, all of that experience becomes valid, that actually it's something that we should all be talking about.
The experiences described range from beautiful to frightening beyond comprehension. I heard of a girl who has to live with an angry voice screaming at her, slamming on her doors and walls 24 hours a day. I met someone who would often see hanging corpses in a room, so real that she would sometimes try to rescue them. The panic and fear that comes with such visions is entirely understandable, and it can be a living horror for some.
Worthless, weak, pathetic. Go on, feel sorry for yourself, because there's no one left to do that for you.
I was urged by one fellow that we should not shy away from showing this horror, and so I was perpetually torn in making HELLBLADE. Had we gone too far with our representations or not far enough?
Broken and lost. Just like your sword.
Come on.
In some ways, voice hearing and visions were the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. There's another aspect of psychosis that is much harder to explain, but one that I think video games are uniquely able to represent, which are often called delusions.
People begin to see patterns in the world. They begin to link things that most people wouldn't link. Most of the things that we might think would be coincidence or, not worth commenting on. Nevertheless, that might have a particular salience or importance for them.
One individual described how everyday words, sounds, colours and objects were steeped in meaning to him, forming a strange and sinister puzzle that he was determined to solve but could not quite get to the bottom of.
It's not just brain dysfunction. It's not like the system shut down. It's actually an incredibly creative process. The person creates a world populated with voices and phantasms and terrors, and they're completely immersed in it. They believe in it.
We often invite people into the studio to play the game. In one of our playtests, they played through much of the game, making associations between runes, secret messages, and the threat of darkness that stalked them. There are many things that happen in the world of Hellblade that make perfect sense within the context of Senua's mind. The dark rot that's killing her slowly from within, the secret runes of the gods that block her path to Helheim, and strange associations that exist in the game to confuse you. To complete Senua's quest, you have to internalize and accept the logic and meaning behind these things to progress. Afterwards they said that they didn't see much evidence of mental illness in the game. People with delusions of all sorts would argue the same thing, that they are not aware of their experience being abnormal in any way.
I need this sword. It's important.
Representing perception changes and thinking patterns within Hellblade gives us a set of symptoms common in psychosis. But people with lived experience were keen to emphasize another point, that it is wrong to define a person by their symptoms. Quite often, the illness comes not from the symptoms, but from the stigma, isolation and mistreatment that comes about from the rest of society.
They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
I needed someone to portray Senua, someone who could believably internalize her suffering. Melina Jurgens, our video editor, had been a stand-in for Senua over a few months while we perfected our motion capture techniques. Without realizing it, she had already well enough to know that I didn't have to teach her to act, but to relive her own internal pain. As often is the case, those who have suffered mental anguish are never far from us. My hope is that by creating a compelling and aspirational character in Senua who feels very much real, albeit in a fantasy setting, we can provide a lens into her reality, a different one to yours, and this is where storytelling comes into play. I imagined her life based on common threads in real people's lives. She was always prone to psychosis as a child. Her mother Galina also heard voices and had visions, so perhaps there was a genetic aspect. Or perhaps it was cultural, as she lived within a world without science, of gods and a superstition, as exemplified by her druid father Zimbal. Psychosis developed in her late teens to early 20s and was exacerbated by stigma and isolation at the hands of the clansmen and her father.
This darkness. It's spreading.
The trauma of seeing her lover Dillian sacrificed tips her over the edge, making her remodel her reality around a concept that connects everything: the darkness. So the question, is what Senua experiences real? Can only be answered by saying, yes, it is real. It is her reality.
All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
Towards the end of the project, service users and professionals that had collaborated with us were invited to see the near-final game. Their views, or if it had misrepresented them.
For me, being involved in especially developing Senua's character has been really important, and being able to bring in my perspective and what I see and what I hear, and having that built into the game has been a real privilege. It's gritty and it's meaty, and there are some tough subjects in there that are being tackled with honesty.
I was blown away by it today, absolutely blown away. It was just fantastic to get the opportunity to use our lived experience in a very creative way. There's nothing tokenistic about the work we've put in. It feels like we've been listened to, things have been taken on board, and I think there was a lot of realism in the game itself, and it feels very authentic.
Hellblade will give people a good experience of what it's like to hear voices and have those experiences. I'm glad that the guys at Ninja Theory kind of asked us to come along and help them build an experience that's positive. when it comes out and get myself a copy and have a go.
I think all the way through I was really inspired by how the conversations have translated into the game in a way that I think I didn't imagine was possible. So wonderful, really wonderful.
And use the power of something like a video game to change people's perceptions, to increase understanding, and ultimately to make some of the stigma around voice hearing and other experiences go away.
For me, it was really exciting to see something that I explore scientifically being represented so beautifully in a character who's trying to penetrate the mysteries of the environment in which they've been placed, with all of this strange uncertainty and noise and conflicting information that they're getting. I'm very excited by this way of trying to represent mental illness, because I think it actually might be offering us insights that we wouldn't get from pure scientific explorations, and actually giving us quite an empathic view of what it might be like.
Mental illness has been with us for as long as we have been on this planet, but why? Why hasn't evolution stamped out this weakness from within our gene pool? I often pondered this question until I realized that the question had an inbuilt flaw. It assumes that being and thinking differently is a weakness. The only reason we have computers, spacecraft, medicine, poetry, art, and yes, even video games is because individuals are able to simulate new abstract realities in their minds and share them with the rest of us. We need people to be willing to see differently in order for us to progress and survive as society. And we need to be open to these new ways of seeing. And it is this spirit that motivated me to create Senua's story and share it with you.
Bueno, gente, ya estamos aquí. La verdad que ha sido emocionante, ¿eh? El vídeo. No, que no me acuerdo dónde tenía que ir, tío.
I saw once a plague strike northern lands of ice. It was so terrible that not the oldest man among us could remember the like. Hundreds died. The sickness took nearly every person younger than 40, and many older. And where dying mothers gave birth, the marks of the plague were on the babes as they came out of the womb.
Where are we? I don't like it. This place feels... What is this place? This place feels... It's... creepy. It feels wrong. It feels strange. Where is it? Where are we? Turn back. This is wrong. This has to be wrong. There he is. There he is. The light. Go towards it. He's in the house. He's going in. He's disappearing. Follow him. Don't let him disappear. The air. Where's it gone? Keep going. How do you find it? It's just a trial. It's just another test. You just have to solve it. And then you will find it. It's a test. Like the old warrior trials. Dillian will help me. The stench of rot. She can almost taste it. Do you smell it? No. Don't worry. Not everyone can. It was one spring day when she went to the river with Dillian and the others. For the water. She could taste the rot. But no one else could. She knew something was wrong. Something sinister. She begged them to leave, but they just laughed at her. But soon enough, as the bodies piled up, no one was laughing. And they knew that she was not like that. You found a way to climb the tower. The ladder. Quick. What now? You can see it. A line to the truth. The bridge.
The Northmen speak of a death moon, a light shaped like a half moon that appears inside a house and goes around the walls. I once saw the death moon appear at a farm, and first the shepherd died, then a guest died, and then the farmhands, and then the farmer and 6 of his men drowned at sea. But that is not the end of it, because the dead return to haunt the living. If you see the death moon, then beware, because there will be death in that house.
That's it. You did it. She didn't do it. It's not done yet. Just a small piece of the puzzle.
Vale, creo que me voy a tomar un café porque me está atacando el sueño, tío. Un momento. No, por lo menos con el cafecito este se me quita la tontería, supongo. Ay, joder, tío, es que estaba como que se me cerraban los ojos ya todo el rato. A ver, ya me lo he tomado, el café. Si veo que no mejoro, pues me tomaré otro. Ya que hoy es domingo y mañana no trabajo. Así que... a ver si así se me quita un poco el sueño.
Senua! Come to me! Where are you?
I'm here! I'm right here!
Are you in there? Come out if you are.
Where is he? Find him. You have to find him. The runes. Focus. The runes. Focus the runes. Dillian! They're coming for me! It's close. Run now! Save him! Send one. You don't even have your sword. Don't disconnect it. It is. Go towards it. Run. Focus. Two more. Two. Where are they? Where's Dillian? Where are you? Don't let it see you. Don't get lost. Don't let it see you. You'll start to burn. Going. You'll burn. There it is. Move away. Don't let it happen quick. Where's Dillian? Where is he? This is taking too long. Can you hear him? You're lost. Two more rooms. You have to find them. Where are they? It still looks the same. The light. Go towards it. Focus. 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 Look. To find one more. One dance. Lost. Find the other symbol. We're lost. You. Where is he? What should I do? You've got them. Where's the door? Find a way out. Find the gate. Get out. Run. Don't let him look at you. Don't let it see you. It's coming. Move away. You're lost again. Where are you?
Senua!
Senua! What happened?
They're blaming me for the plague. They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
How would they know such a thing? Are they gods? None of us are. They're just people. Good people, but they're scared. They're afraid of what they can't see. Like children scared of the dark. They make up stories to fill the void. That doesn't make them true.
What if my father was right?
You have to step out of this darkness. Let them see who you really are, like I have. You're not a monster.
Without you, this darkness has made me a monster.
What if this is pointless? What if you're wrong? What if this is nothing to do with the sword? What if we're wrong? The sword will never be yours. What if this is the end? It's just a trick. It's just a pointless test. You've been fooled before. You could be fooled again. You don't know. It's just their game for you. You never know which way it's going to go.
I want to tell you a story about a god of the Northmen called Balder. The second son of Odin. He was beautiful, good and wise. He was fair of feature, he spoke fair words, he gave fair judgments. Light shone from him. Only good things were told of him. Yet he was the first of the gods to die.
this far, but the bridge is broken. There's no way you can fix it. What do you do now, Sam? What does it see? Get closer. Gods, the mask is here to watch you fail again. Where are we? What is this? It's the same. Different. It's another world. It's lighter. It's nicer. I like it here. Can we stay? Let's stay here. It's safe here. It's calm here. It's light here. It's nice. The bridge. It's not broken. It's fixed. What happened? The bridge is fixed. Let's cross it. Dillian, don't forget. You can feel it. You need the runes to fight Dillian. You need Dillian. He's waiting for you. He always said he's close. He cares about you. Feel he's close. He loves you. Calling you. Dillian. Dillian, we're here. Dillian. We're nearly here. The gate is open. Go through the gate. Go through it. It's dangerous. Follow it. What's behind the gate? Where will it take you? It's safe. Dillian, there he is. What are you waiting for? Find a way. Find him. Where is he? Where's he gone? We're in the wrong world. He's not here. She's in the tree. He's not in this world. He's in the other one. He's in the other one. He's in the dark world. The dark world.
The world once seemed so simple. Black and white. Darkness and light. Narrow dividing lines of our own making. Dillian taught her to see further.
Not in this.
To peek through the cracks and see the worlds of colour stretching away from the gloom. And Senua explored new paths into the unknown.
Do you remember the smell of his neck? He was the only one she could trust. Could she trust him? He's the reason she's alive at all.
The Northmen tell this story about the death of Baldur. It begins with dark dreams. Night after night, Baldur dreams of his own death, and the gods fear for his life. So Baldur's mother makes everything in the world: fire, water, iron, stone, earth, wood, beasts, birds, serpents, poison, sickness. Swear an oath not to harm her sons. One by one, they each make their vow. Neither weapons nor wood will injure him, Baldur's mother boasts. Only Loki, father of Hela, the mistress of death, is not amused.
He's in the dark world. He's gone to the dark world. You're in the wrong world. He's in the other world. The dark world. Without you. He didn't believe that she was cursed. He saved you.
O sea, arriba no puedo. Creo que si vuelvo... No sé si está el puente. Voy a hacer cambio de percepción. Esa puerta estará cerrada. Esta...
There he is. Where are you taking him? He's up there. Why didn't she use it?
Quiere que suba.
There is a way up there. Find the way. She can do it. You're nearly there. She can find the way.
Bueno, de la última vez que jugué. Y... La verdad que si nos atacaran ahora, que no creo.
Listen to your father when you had the chance. Why didn't you listen to him? Because love has tortured you and it tortures them.
Hay unas escaleras que suben.
You have no chance for love now. Nobody will love you again. Ever again. Years had passed since she
Habían
left her
pasado
father.
muchos años desde que se apartó de su padre. Entrenaba duramente junto con su amigo Dillion. Veía cosas que nadie más podía ver. Patrones, formas y movimientos. Esa intuición la convertía en una guerrera excepcional. Sí, es lo que te digo. Hoy en día, desde hace ya años, décadas, yo entiendo que hayan personas que realmente tenga una enfermedad y se pueda considerar una enfermedad, pero yo creo que nos han querido engañar. Ya sabes cómo es la gente esta que controla el mundo, que intentan que los seres humanos pierdan sus poderes, porque realmente los seres humanos tienen poderes, pero cuando me refiero a poderes, no en plan... son algo más como algo profundo, espiritual, y la verdad que si has sabido desde hace miles de años, lo que pasa que a ver cómo os explico esto. Hace mucho tiempo había una famosa biblioteca, la Biblioteca de Alejandría, hace pues más de 2000 años, ¿vale? En esa biblioteca había conocimientos por escrito, en pergaminos, supuestamente en libros, que guardaban información de muchas cosas que había en la Tierra, pues desde seres, formas de vida que se pueden considerar mitológicas, extraterrestres, bajados del cielo, tal, igual magia, cosas que hoy en día se pueden considerar pues ciencia ficción. Y se quemó la biblioteca a propósito para que se perdiera ese conocimiento. Es como si a alguien, pero alguien por encima de un ser humano, utiliza a seres humanos para llevar sus planes. Y yo creo que es que querían quemar la biblioteca, que la quemaron porque no querían que esa cantidad de información que había en la biblioteca no se pudiera pasar de generación en generación. Es una manera de lograr que el ser humano se quede en plan analfabeto, sin conocimiento de cosas, para que los que tienen esos planes crean que los seres humanos pues no tengamos poderes, digamos, porque la información es poder. Se ha sabido, se ha dicho que hace mucho tiempo en el pasado había unos personajes llamados druidas, que hoy en día se pueden considerar como magos, que tenían la habilidad de poder comunicarse con animales, podían hacer cositas que se podía considerar como magia. Hay seres humanos que dicen que pueden mover objetos con la mente. Por eso la famosa serie de Stranger Things, no sé si os sonará, V, que es una chica que tiene poderes mentales. Además, Estados Unidos, ya sabéis que hacen experimentos ocultos, digamos, en sus bases. Y había un programa que era... ellos buscaban niños supuestamente con poderes psíquicos para estudiarlos y para investigar, porque Estados Unidos siempre investiga todo lo que puede. O sea, todo. O sea, investigan todo, pero siempre es top secret. Entonces, resumiendo, lo que quiero decir es que yo pienso que los seres humanos que a nosotros nos quieren hacer creer que sufren psicosis, yo creo que no tiene por qué ser una enfermedad. A lo mejor esa persona tiene una facultad, un don, que además en películas de terror te lo meten. Personas que ven muertos, que hablan, que escuchan a los muertos, o que incluso pueden hablar con muertos. Por poner un ejemplo, 1 de cada 10 personas con esa habilidad igual no es una enfermedad, es un don. Y entonces la industria farmacéutica lo que ha estado haciendo es contaminar el cuerpo del ser humano. Con eso creo que logran inhibir las capacidades del ser humano, porque ya habéis escuchado hablar que el ser humano también tiene la glándula pineal, que es como el tercer ojo, es como algo muy místico que nos puede permitir hacer cosas increíbles, pero se supone que muy pocos seres humanos lo podrían lograr. No sé, tienes que tener un espíritu y una mente muy trabajados espiritualmente y mentalmente. Por ejemplo, pues hubo una persona del pasado que se cuenta que se llama Buda, ¿vale? Buda es casi como Jesús Cristo para los asiáticos. Jesús Cristo también tenía como unos dones, unos poderes. Y los seres humanos en sí, de nacimiento, la mayoría, que tienen alma y espíritu, también tienen unos poderes, pero que están dormidos. Y lo que yo veo que consiguen la industria farmacéutica es hacer creer que la gente está enferma, que tomen medicamentos, para que con esos medicamentos, eso que ellos le llaman enfermedad, no la puedan desarrollar, y incluso le joda físicamente, porque sabéis que la letra pequeña de un medicamento, tú lo lees y te dice que ese medicamento, en letra pequeñita, te dice que te puede quitar el dolor de cabeza, pero te puede joder el estómago, te puede joder el hígado, te puede joder los riñones, los efectos secundarios de los medicamentos. En el pasado, los más sabios de las tribus sabían hacer mezclas con plantas para que eran como medicamentos naturales. Yo siempre he creído que la naturaleza tenía y tiene todo lo que necesitamos para curarnos. Aparte, nosotros mismos, supuestamente con la mente, también nos podemos supuestamente curar. Y eso lo digo porque aquí en Francia hay un sitio que se llama Lourdes, donde la gente viaja, los enfermos viajan con la esperanza de sanar sus enfermedades. Y ha habido casos de personas que cuando realizaban ese viaje tenían esa ilusión y esas ganas de curarse, y cuando llegaban allí tomaban esa especie de agua, de manantial y tal, y se curaban. Y los médicos decían que no entendían cómo era posible que una persona que se le había diagnosticado una enfermedad ahora de repente se había curado, como si fuera un milagro. Y no es un milagro, es la fuerza y las ganas de esa persona de curarse la que la ha llevado a curarse. El poder de la mente también hace mucho. Así que no sé si quería comentar todo esto, pero bueno.
The gods feast and rejoice and amuse themselves by throwing spears and stones at Balder, striking at him with sword and axe. But he comes to no harm, whatever they do. The gods never cease to wonder at this great marvel. But Loki shapes himself into a woman and asks Balder's mother, "Is it really true that all things promise to keep him safe?" "I did not ask the mistletoe," Balder's mother confesses. "I thought it was too young." Oh dear.
Vale, ahora vengo.
It's all your fault. It's all your fault. You're cursed. Do you know? Was it worth it? You're still alive and Dillian's dead. He doesn't deserve to be dead. How does that make you feel? Wasting your time. I have no time for this. Speak up and swallow these words. It's all part of their game. They've set you trials to distract you. They've set you up, and now they're going to watch you. What if these trials mean nothing? Laughing at you. What if they take you?
Ahora en un ratito voy a tener que parar un momento porque tengo que... voy a cerrar el bar ya. Voy a terminar el partido que había aquí.
She thought she had light within her. She is pure darkness. Dillian saved her. You owe your life to Dillian. You owe everything to him. that she was strong.
Loki makes a dart out of mistletoe and goes to the gods as they throw things at Balder. The blind god, Huth, was there. Loki asks him why he wasn't taking part. Huth says, "I cannot see where Balder stands, and even if I could see him, I have no weapon." Loki replies, "Here is a wand. I will tell you where he stands." And Huth throws the mistletoe at Balder. It pierces through him, and to everyone's horror, Balder is killed. And for this, Huth is slain.
Vale, viene gente a la barra. No sé si está abierto, mira a ver. ¿Está cerrado? ¿Está abierto? Vale. Vale, ya estoy aquí.
Do you remember what it was to touch him?
Nobody will love you now.
Can you remember what love feels like?
Look what happens to the things she loves.
She destroys the things she loves. Remember Dillian? Do you remember? Do you remember the sound of his voice? runes. You see runes everywhere.
The Northmen tell how the gods mourned Balder. His body was to be burnt on his ship, but they could not manage to push it into the sea, and sent for a giantess to do it. She comes riding a wolf and has vipers for her reins. She pushes Balder's ship into the sea with such force that the ground shakes and the rollers burst into flames. When Balder's wife sees his body carried onto the ship, her heart bursts with grief, and she dies. She's put next to her husband, and the pyre is lit, sending the dead to hell. But even so, the gods cannot accept his death.
Qué cabrón era el Loki, ¿eh? O sea, estas historias suelen ser muy entretenidas, pero como nosotros como seres humanos vemos en las mitologías y en estas historias que algunos seres, por llamarlos dioses o semidioses, o algunos toman el camino del mal, tío. Como Loki le engañó a un ciego para que muriera Baldur, tío.
Do you remember him whispering in your ear? Your curse has claimed Dillion. Poor Dillion. He didn't know. He was kind.
Ahora el problema está que me falta una por hacer, pero no tengo ni idea de...
You kill the things you love with your curse. You kill the things that are most precious to you. Dillion didn't deserve us.
Vale, voy a parar aquí un momento, voy a hacer un descanso, voy a cerrar el bar y en un ratito volvemos. Hasta ahora.